Tell me about yourself. Did I make you think? Absolutely, that's the whole point. This is one of the most common questions asked in the setting of a job interview. And as promised in my previous video, these few videos are going to talk about some of the most common questions so that you can help yourself prepare better when you're appearing for a job interview. If you want to learn more, stay tuned. Hi everybody, this is Dr. Samreen. I'm a full-time academic in the UK and I'm making these YouTube videos to help you in your journey. Right, so let's talk about today's video. When we go for job interviews, most of the times we find ourselves answering the same kind of questions, of course rephrased differently. So one of the most common questions asked in the interview, most of the times in the beginning of the interview, is something on the lines of, tell me about yourself. Now, when somebody asks you, tell me about yourself, we are tempted to tell them so much. I mean, you're thinking now, do I need to tell them about my school, college, uni, my previous job, my friends, family, who am I, what do I believe in, my values and whatnot? And that's the whole trick lies in. And most of the times we fumble in answering that question, although if you really think about it, who best than to ourselves to answer that question about ourselves, right? But it's not as simple as it sounds like. When somebody asks you, tell me about yourself, you always take some pause, you always think, okay, what do I need to tell them? And there's the trick that what you should tell them. But before we dive into answering that question, let's think about the fact why this question is being even asked in the first place. So when somebody asks you, of course an employer, so when somebody asks you, tell me about yourself, they have some motivations behind that question. Of course, to begin with, they're trying to break the ice. Because you can imagine when you go to an interview room, if it's online or offline, it's always nerve-wracking to appear in an interview, no matter what stage in life you are, your age, your career, everything. Only few people enjoy those settings, as most of us do feel nervous. So the first motive behind that question is just to kind of break the ice so that they can carry on with the rest of the interview. Also, second motivation behind that question is when you ask somebody, tell me about yourself, they tend to talk about the things they think are the most important to them. And that also helps the employer to understand these employees better, or perhaps the potential employees better, because they want to learn who this person is before they talk about their skills and experiences. And third and the final motivation behind that question could be because that question then can lead to the follow-up questions. So for example, if somebody asks you, tell me about yourself, and if you start talking about your skills, experiences, your personal hobbies, and so on and so forth, follow-up questions can be based upon that. So it's very important for you to think twice before you speak. Always prepare for that answer, because in some form or the shape this answer would be asked. Another way of asking that question is, talk me through your resume. See what I've done there? Still I'm asking you about yourself, yet I've just rephrased the question to say, okay, you have submitted your resume, your profile, whatnot. Why don't you talk me through it? Because by doing that again, I'm bringing you to that piece of paper or to the digital form of it so that you can share who you are. Another motivation behind that question could be that you can demonstrate your skills, your experiences through your CV, through your resume, your digital profile. But when it comes to your soft skills, for example, your communication skills, the way you deal with people, the way you talk, the way you discuss things, that can only happen through that one-to-one setting. And in some organizations, this is one of the most important skills to have. So when somebody asks you a question about, tell me about yourself, they're also assessing how well you can converse and how do you come across to that employer, and also to which extent you are that genuine, authentic person they're looking for. After understanding the fact that why in the first place you asked that question, I think that can really give us a good idea of how to address that question. And for this situation, a career coach, Lily Zhang, has come up with a really good formula. You can divide your answer on past, present and future. And what does that mean? That means that you can start talking about what happened in the past, what you're doing currently, and how do you see yourself going forward. Now again, it would differ if you have some past experience or if you don't. So for example, if you don't have any past experience, or if this is going to be your first job, yay, exciting times, you can always talk about your educational background in the past section of that statement. And when I talk about educational background, it's always important for you to bring in all kinds of projects you have worked upon, any internship experience you might have, any small projects at your college, university level you may have, or perhaps you may have done something on your own which you would like to share with the employer. After doing that, you talk about the fact that what you're doing currently and how do you see yourself progressing in the future. And these things would really depend on the company you have applied for and also the job you have applied for. So you may have watched my previous video already where I was talking about how crucial it is for you to research about your company and also analyze the job description you are applying for. And by the way, if you have not watched that video, then please go watch. The link would be somewhere here on the screen. So yeah, what I was talking about, that you need to research the company and the job you're applying for. And the question about, tell me about yourself, the answer of that question should broadly based on those two things. So when you're talking about what you have done in the past, it should again align somewhere with the company and the job you're applying for. Similar to that, your present and your future aspects as well. So example, if you don't have much experience before this job you're applying for, you can start talking about the fact that I have a background in computer science. I've studied from X, Y, and Z college, university. I worked on an internship summer program. In my free time, I've worked on some freelance projects. And going forward, I see myself working for this company XYZ. Do you see my point? And you can tailor this kind of statement to any kind of job industry as you like. Similarly, if you're a business graduate, you can talk about what you have learned in your university or college life. You can talk about certain models, certain theoretical frameworks. You can discuss how you can see the relevance of those in the real world, because in universities and colleges, you would be learning how to apply these concepts into case studies. So you can talk about these academic concepts in the real world context to show the employer that you understand the relevance of it, only if you don't have any prior experience working in industry. But if you already have that experience, then absolutely you need to talk about that so the employer understands what kind of projects you have been involved in, what skills do you hold, and how you can be really useful for the company you've applied for. Carrying on, if you already have phrased your answers based on that past, present, and future framework, you can also bring in your relevant skills, experience, achievements, what you've done previously, what you're doing currently, and what you're going to do in future based on the job description. And so by coming up with a comprehensive answer can really increase your chances of securing that ideal job of yours for which you have applied. And always remember, show your passion, show your enthusiasm, that why you would like to work with this company and what you can really add to them. Don't rumble and practice. Yes, practice, practice, and practice, because trust me, the more you'll practice, the more your answers would come easily, and it would help you to create a good impression on your employer. Yeah, so this was it for today's video. Today we talked about tell me about yourself kind of a question, which is the most prevalent and common question in a setting or job interview. In the next video, I will talk about some other most commonly asked questions in the job interviews, in the hope that you'll be able to secure that dream job you're applying right now, or you may in the future. Thank you very much for watching this video. Don't forget to share your comments and feedback, and also you can share this video with your friends if you think it would be helpful for them too. Take care until next video. Bye.